Welcome to the first edition of the Acrophase podcast. I'm Dan, the CEO of our label, and we wanted to start a podcast that could introduce you guys to the artists that we're currently working with and let you know a little bit more about them and what's on the docket.
So I'm George. I'm co-founder and
head engineer
of Acrophase
and
Records.
Producer.
And I'm really happy to introduce our first guest, Gingerroot, aka Cameron, who came all the way from sunny Southern California to visit us in our humble abode here in Nashville, Tennessee.
Hello. Yes.
So it's really great to have you on this first edition. And I think we just wanted to start out with a little introduction to you, how you got started in music, and then a little bit about how we started to collaborate and work together.
Yeah. Like George said, I'm from sunny Southern California, and so I started music actually kind of, I guess, by accident. One Christmas, my parents got me like a cheap acoustic guitar from Target, not because it was on my wish list, but just because they were like, "Here's a thing that you might want to try out," and I was like, "Okay." So it came with an instructional DVD that teach you how to play like the 12-bar blues, and
Nice.
I treated it like a video game. So like I went through all the lessons, and I was like, I finished the DVD.
I'm now expert level.
I was like, did I win guitar? And they're like, do you want to take lessons? And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of fun. So then I started like guitar lessons, and eventually started playing music more and more throughout like middle school and high school. And I was in this after school like arts program in high school, and that's when I was able to really get a feel for like recording and playing other instruments like bass and drums and all that. And slowly that program showed me like the fundamentals on how to do a lot of the stuff that I know how to do today. And in college I had a group, and we were working on our first EP. And it was taking a while, and I'm the type of person who just really likes to make stuff like super fast and just churn it out. So I was very like antsy to just like finish a record. So because of that, I had all these demos that didn't really fit with the sound of that band, and I needed a name for it. I slapped the name Gingerroot on it, made a first like record, and was just like, I made something great, and I put it on like Bandcamp, and then slowly but surely people are like, hey, this is like cool, like you should keep doing this. And then one thing led to another, and then Dan reached out to me via the most like strange small world scenario. One of his friends, Blake Goldberg, just we were best friends in kindergarten and preschool, and he was like, yeah. And after we went to preschool and kindergarten, we never saw each other ever again. Years later, he found me on Facebook. He realized I was doing music. I realized that he did music. He shared something. Dan got a hold of it. And now I'm in the Acrophase family.
Two meldings of great minds, Blake and Cameron, back in kindergarten.
Yeah,
I can only imagine that classroom.
It was Legos and Hot Wheels 24/7.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting is that both Blake and Cameron are like two people that we like love their music. And they're both like could not be more different, but also alike in a lot of ways. Like there's like, I think there's this like degree of uniqueness to both of them, but it's like takes place in very different settings. But I think one thing that like I really love about Gingerroot that is like so unique is that Cameron like has accompanied all of his music with like really great video content. And so the way that I actually really heard about Cameron was through a video on Facebook that he did, and it was called a toaster session, and it was of a song called Never Can Say Goodbye with the Jackson 5, which I'm just going to play a little bit of a clip of right now because I think that that's just it. We all need a little bit of that in our lives. But so Cameron like posts this video on top of some parking garage in Southern California in
Yeah.
front of his car, playing all the instruments, and it's like so tastefully done and so unique that I was like, oh my gosh, like this is like the melding of everything that I love, and this is like so in the vein of Acrophase. It's like soul music, and it's unique, and it's a different take on it. And so like I think that was an instant grabber for us. And like talk about how that, like how film has played like a huge role in just like music, and how it coincides, and like what's different about it, how it makes your career a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure. I do know that I go to Chapman University. I'm a film production student, like at my core, and so music is more of a hobby for me. But as I went through film school, I kind of felt I kind of lost a spark for like my interest in film, just because like it turned into like schoolwork. And so I found myself like drifting towards writing music and creating music. And what's really cool is like I love trying to combine those two worlds and those two mediums of film and video and versus like audio and music stuff. And so the toaster music videos that I did, where was this project where I had like 3 hours in the middle of class. I would just bring like a small drum kit and my keyboards and my bass and guitar, and would just record a whole cover in that afternoon, accompany it with like a video of me playing it. And it was just a really nice way to not have to like redo or like not have to work on a film or a video solely because the teacher says like, oh, you have to do this. It was like a very freeing type of thing. And I think that's like what I really like about trying to meld those two is, you know, there are rules to both, but then when you combine them, they're like these new sets of ideas and these new parameters that you can work in. So it's just a whole lot of fun. Like at the end of the day, that's what I really like about it.
But what I just heard you say is that most of the videos were filmed in a 3-hour time period.
Yes.
In between classes.
That is correct.
So I don't know if you guys have seen these videos. If you haven't, you need to pause this and go to YouTube and look at toaster music and try and find some, because it's really impressive to just say, oh yeah, I just filmed this all and recorded it all in 3 hours.
Yeah, so we're just going to take a little break, and you guys can listen to a little bit of Cameron's version of Never Can Say Goodbye, which is on the album he put out on Spotify, which features all the songs that he did in the Toaster sessions.
Never can say goodbye. Never can say goodbye. Even though the pain and heartache seems to follow me wherever I go, even though I try to hide my feelings, they always seem to show. Now you're trying to tell you're leaving me, but I have to say no. Tell me why. Is that so? I don't wanna let you go. Start heading for the door. There's a very strange vibration piercing me right to my core. It says turn around, you fool. You know you love her even more. Tell me why. Is this so? I don't wanna let you go. I never can say goodbye, girl. I never can say.
All right, so there's a little bit of Never Can Say Goodbye from Toaster music.
Yes. It's really funny because I haven't actually really heard that in a very long time, probably since like I put it out. And I think looking back at all 23 songs that I did, which were all covers, it was like just a cover thing, I think this one might be my favorite.
It's incredible. I think partially it's just one of my favorite songs of all time. So
it's a great song.
I definitely favor it. And like the fact that it was the first video I saw of you, I was like, all right, I'm already sold on Gingerroot. I haven't even heard anything else he's done, but I'm on board.
It's really funny because it's not my favorite because like, oh, it's my favorite. It sounds the best or my favorite. It's just like, it was so, that whole day, that whole like 3-hour period of me trying to figure out like what is toaster music and how to do this. And it got to the point where I guess you're not allowed to play music on the top of the parking structure of the DMAC building at Chapman University. So in the video, halfway through, I'm doing a take and this cop just rolls up and just like parks right behind my car and was just staring at me the whole time. I was like doing the take and I was so freaked out. And I only did guitar and vocals at that point and I wanted to do a full thing. So I packed my car like as fast as I could after the take. I drove to the basement of that parking structure and I just like put on my little overhead light like that comes in the car and I just like tracked drums like as quietly as I can in the basement of the parking lot, like trying not to make a sound. And if I heard like the door like open, I'd like look over and I knew I was sweating like so much too because I was afraid I was gonna get caught. But that's probably why it's my favorite, because it was like so like oh my god, am I gonna be able to do this project or not?
Good memory.
Yeah,
definitely didn't go back to that garage to track again.
Oh no, definitely not. That is I was like,
that was part of the format.
Yeah, I'm not going back.
Well, so I think like after that, I like immediately. I mean, I talked to George and was just like, George, you're gonna freak out when you hear this guy. He's awesome. And we watched a bunch of the videos and we talked about it. And then, you know, over the course of the next few months, we were corresponding, and it was this kind of weird thing. It was kind of a first for me because I had made a lot of music with people before, but I'd never had this relationship where like Facebook Messenger was the communication format for making stuff. So like it was really interesting, but Cameron was sending us demos and stuff, and then finally he sent us this song that he was like, all right, I think I'm ready to like release the next single, and we're gonna talk a little bit about it. But I mean, it was just so cool to hear like music from someone who is making everything. They're doing everything on it, and also doing it better than like every little thing better than a lot of people who specialize at just one of those things. So I mean, do you want to talk a little bit about Two Step?
I wrote the song Two Step and I brought it to Acrophase, and I'm like, I think this would be, let's try to do this one. Like, let's work on this one together. And so Two Step, it was really funny because I had this other song called Having Fun that was going to be like the next thing that I wanted to put out. And Two Step, it was one of those songs that I was playing around on the keyboard and I wrote in like 30 minutes. You know, it was just like, it just came together so organically. Like I was recording things on looping pedals and playing it back and trying to play drums with it. And I was just like, I think this will work. And then so I just like made a quick demo and then I sent it to you guys. And then we were like, let's do this. Let's do this one. And so that's how it kind of came to be very quickly.
Yeah. And I think before we play this, another thing just to like really acknowledge that was like made this video all the more infectious was the for copyright reasons, I don't want to mention the TV channel, but it was a certain house hunting show.
Yeah,
was a lot of the inspiration.
It was a certain show that featured couples or single people trying to find accommodations to house themselves at certain levels of price points and certain levels of criteria met by the real estate agent.
If you were in a doctor's office, you've likely seen this show. To say the least.
So if
you were like sick, like from school, you're like, "What's on TV?" Oh, this show.
So if you like the song, we'll put a link in our bio, and you can go watch this video because it's awesome. So here's Two Step by Gingerroot.
So that was Two Step by Gingerroot, which is out on all streaming platforms right now for you guys to check out.
Yeah, so I mean, I think something that we really wanted to do is take a step back and talk about a little bit of the inspiration for that song. And you can talk about the writing process a little bit and, you know, talk about a few songs that like really inspired. Maybe not like the full form of the song, but even just like little moments and stuff. So just talk about the song a little bit more.
Yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, Two Step came about like within 30 minutes of its like thought. Like the idea was there, and it actually came from the intro came from a demo that I had that I will not show anyone because it's just like a straight rip off of another song that I know like is another song, and which is why I was hesitant. But the intro is the one thing that I was like holding onto the demo because I was like, oh wow, I really like this intro thing. And then so I just started writing. I was just like, well, this intro can just be attached to anything. And so I started writing like the bulk of the song, the verse and the chorus. And like I said, I was like playing stuff on my keyboard, and then I'd loop it, and then I tried to figure out a bass part, and then I'd like get on the drums, and then just through my phone, like on the couch, like recording voice memo, just like, yeah, just like hopefully encapsulating what I was thinking that I was writing. And then just like created that, you know, in the box, a demo. And then one day I was like, okay, I think I have a song, and let's like workshop it out. And I remember, I think one weekend I'd start from finish, and I just tracked everything like how I thought it should be. And so I guess the song came from me wanting to make a little bit more, I guess not current would be the right word, but just I know the stuff I made off my first project, Spotlight People, was very much influenced by older styles of music. Like it kind of touches on soul, it kind of touches on Motown, which is something that I think at the core I really want to keep. And definitely like how soul music and Motown music definitely has like a sustainable groove in it. And so I tried to take those elements and throw it into more of an updated setting. And I would like to think that I kind of found this way of maybe trying to pave this new sound that I'm maybe trying to achieve. You know, because when you're an artist and you're just starting out, you're trying to think what sounds like you. And I think this is one step closer, two steps closer to how I think Gingerroot should maybe sound like. But I guess as far as inspiration goes for the track, I know for sure the intro was heavily inspired by a Wolfpack song, A Walk to Remember. There's this part where it goes from the funkiest groove to the smoothest groove, and so I took that transition and just kind of made my own universe around it.
Say like about, you talked about transition from something that's so aggressive to something so smooth. Like, do you feel like that conveys like the emotion of the song, or just brings someone into a different space?
I think what's really interesting is when I showed the song to some people, that intro is very different from the rest of the song, and so they kind of like try to settle into this world of more of this like atmospheric sound, and then it just the snare drum just comes like pounding at the door, just and just like wakes you up. And I think that is like one of my favorite parts of the song, is just like you're in this one world for just literally like a couple seconds, and then it's just kidding, like this is where we're going.
Okay,
and
yeah.
It kind of takes you on a
also
different...
what's so great about it is that, like, you know, the song is under 3 minutes long, and you have that at the start, and then it kind of reconvenes at the end, and and you're like left with it, and it's like a different. I think it falls into a different place than the intro does.
Yeah, definitely. I think it kind of has like three main parts. It's got like that intro, the bulk of the song, and then it's got this like instrumental outro. And I guess it's kind of like, for lack of a better term, I guess a journey that I'm taking along, like the listener along and stuff. But yeah, as far as like sounds go, I was listening to Jay Som's new record, and a big part of her song Baby, and I found out about that song purely by the music video. It's just her and her like a couple dancers just dancing in a ski lift. And it's like she's like wearing like this big fur hat and this big fur coat. And so the video alone like piqued my interest, but then the sounds that she achieves. Also, I think she recorded everything in her bedroom too, was just a huge inspiration, being like, man, I think I can get this sound out of my bedroom, you know? And so her drums on that track definitely inspired the drum sound on Two Step.
Here's a little bit of Baby by Jay Som. So that's Baby by Jay Som. And I know you've talked about Jay Som and Wolfpack a little bit already, but are there any other artists that like you really love?
Yeah, I don't sound like her music at all, but a big inspiration for me is definitely all of Feist's albums. I, for some reason, just gravitate towards kind of her simplistic arrangements, and her lyrics are really cool. And unfortunately, I just can't write like songs or lyrics like her. So, but I do know just her essence is like a big just reason why I guess I do music, because I saw her. There's a documentary done about her Reminder album called "Look at What the Light Did Now." I highly recommend like anyone to watch that if you're just trying to like do the music thing, because it just shows like the process of making a record and touring, and like why you make a record, and what it means to her and what it means to her collaborators. And it's just, when I saw that record, it kind of was a turning point in me being like, I want to give this music thing a try and see what happens. Before I did Gingerroot, I would listen to either my friend's band or bands that would open for bands I like, and just, you know, listening to all this music and being like, I want to write stuff like that. Oh, no, I want to write stuff like that. Like, no, I want to do that thing. And then now I've realized like, I'm just going to try to do what I want to do. And I think that's like a good, like breakthrough of having like, everyone's doing their own thing, and it's so awesome and I love it. And from that, now I know that I can just like do what I do and focus on what I'm doing, like right here in like my bedroom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really hate when you're with a friend that's also a musician or something, and you show them something new that you've done, and they immediately start comparing it.
Yeah, right.
They're immediately like, oh, you sound like this, or like, oh, this track like reminds me of this, and you're like, oh, I didn't see that at all. But
right, yeah,
I really hope it does.
Yeah, half the time I'm like, I've never heard of that artist or that song.
Well, and like also it's like it's coming from a good place, but right after you've put all this effort into creating something, it's like not the first thing you want to hear.
Exactly, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of those influences are. It's funny to me that you say you're influenced by them, because I would never go, oh, like this Gingerroot song sounds like Feist.
Yeah,
like
yeah, right.
Like that's never been like a clear thing to me. But like I think that's something that makes you really unique, because like even really incredible artists who we all love, like we could put on any number of their songs and dissect it and be those people that we don't like and tell them exactly what it sounds like. But are there any other like, you know, like really odd or out of place artists that you like love?
I think right now my guilty pleasure would probably be this band called Kero Bonito, which is just straight up like candy music. No shame at all. I saw, it's really funny. It's like there's this series on YouTube, like Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, or like the band, or like not the band, like the Nickelodeon Junior show, like Yo Gabba Gabba. It's like if they made music for that, but for some reason it's like instantly catchy, and the only way I can describe it is like pure candy music. And so it's one of the only things that me and my like 15-year-old sister like bond over is like Kero Bonito. That was her first concert I took her to. She saw like Taylor Swift before, and she was like, oh, we're so far and there's so many people. And quick tangent, but Haim opened up, and she was like way into that more than Taylor Swift. But the mom was like, but like Haim is like, oh, this is like too like aggressive, like children, like let's go away. She was like, no, this is like awesome. Like, why are we leaving this? And so she was like, so I was like, oh, we should go see Kero Bonito because they're playing at like this really small, like all ages like venue. And she was like blown away that we were like, the room was only like 100 people capacity, and she could like see like what they were doing, and she was in awe. And so like that band, I think, has a definite place in both of our hearts of being like just this really fun time. And so definitely their use of like dinky synthesizers and like toy samplers and like just like overall really cheap sounds is definitely an influence on like the outro to Two Step, or really like how I'm trying to put more electronic sounds into the project.
All right, well, I guess on that note, we should listen to a little Kero Bonito.
Brace yourselves, yeah.
Here's Big City from Kero Bonito. This is a pretty big departure from A Walk to Remember by Wolfpack for anyone who's listening.
Just a little bit.
I mean, I think one thing that's like incredibly striking to me is that it's just like, it does sound like something that would be on Nick at Night in 2004 or something.
Yeah,
like,
right. Yeah, like a children's show.
Yeah. But it's like, it's so great. Like the melody's incredible. This is awesome.
The whole album, their most recent album is just like an album full of just hooks. It's just hook after hook. And
That's
it's
awesome.
Like, this is bananas.
Well, there you have it, guys. Gingerroot's Dirty Pleasure, Kero Bonito. So I guess we're coming to the end of our podcast. And first off, we wanted to thank Cameron, who flew all the way out here on a red eye.
Just to be on this podcast.
Just for the podcast. We did nothing else while he was here.
Yeah, came, set up, and now I'm going to leave. My plane is already, Yeah,
yeah, our private jet is outside.
Yeah.
No, but really, I mean, I think one of the things that I really like to emphasize when I tell anyone about what I do is how lucky we are to work with people who are really talented and like willing to give us a chance to like help them make music and help it get to a certain audience. And I think, it's been great having Cameron in town, because all these people that like we are friends with and stuff, and we showed him the music, all got to see him play live and kind of freaked out, and we're really blown away by how talented he is. So thanks for coming to town, and tell everyone what's on the docket, what's up next for Gingerroot.
Yeah. Well, first of all, yeah, thanks for just offering, and thank you for this opportunity of being in Nashville. I've never been here before, and it was one of the funnest trips I've had, and I'm sad to go back to being a Southern California Chapman film student, going back to the grind of trying to graduate on time and stuff. But in the meantime, when I'm back at home, I guess Gingerroot plans are, I've got a single that is coming out, accompanied by a music video. Shout out to Tahila, who shot it. We went to we didn't go to Ginger, we went to Joshua Tree, and we stayed in the middle of nowhere in this very interesting house, and so excited for that. And then we will be heading to Austin, Texas, to play South by unofficially. We're going to be playing Red Gorilla Music Festival and some showcases hosted by Chive TV. And so we're going with some other local bands. Shout out to Big Monster, who is helping us out planning all that, Jimmy, Mike, and Adrian. And just got an album in the works, trying to finalize everything on that. And, just trying to play shows and stuff. And so that's what's in the immediate future. And hopefully this thing keeps on rolling.
Awesome. Well, that's all we have for you. We're going to send you out with Till Tomorrow Goes Away by Cutworms.
tonight, I'll get to feeling alright. My eyes get chained to you, I can't seem to make them do just what I want to anymore. If I close them now, I'll hit the floor, and the next thing I know, the sunlight's breaking day. If I get the chance to breathe, I'll try to do it with ease. Or if too hard I inhale, I fear I lose the trail beneath the freshly scattered brush. Though it really don't matter all that much, I guess I'll just have to find another way. I'll lie awake in bed, going over the things I said. I'd say them all again if I thought you'd spend just one more night with me alone. Now I can't even get you on the phone. It's all just a ruse, like a trick some fool has played. Now the room is spinning round, can't seem to slow it down. If I'm taken by the night, tell my mind did alright. I just couldn't stop all the time. I just kept standing there in line, waiting until tomorrow goes away. Just trying to kill some time and make it pay. I go up on the hill, down on my knees and pray that someday it will, when tomorrow